the words of my mouth and the meditations of all our hearts be acceptable in your sight, O God, our strength and our Redeemer. Amen. Are you an Elizabeth? We all need someone like Elizabeth sometimes, and we can all be Elizabeth to someone else. This exchange between Elizabeth and Mary can be easy to gloss over as we reach for the next verses, which bring us Mary's song, the Magnificat. Mary's magnifying, lifting, leveling, overturning words are full of power, full of rebellion. But this exchange with Elizabeth is essential before those words overflow from Mary into the world. Let's think about what has happened before today's part of the story. Mary has been visited by the angel Gabriel. She has been perplexed by his words, and she has given an astonishing yes. Let it be with me. Then what? Mary is left alone. An unwed teen, pregnant, vulnerable, yet knowing that something miraculous is happening. So what does she do? She doesn't remain on her own. She hurries to her cousin. She seeks connection. This is the living word for us more than 2,000 years later. We are not alone. God is with us, and we make that God with us palpable, tangible, by being with one another. Mary goes with haste to Elizabeth, and Elizabeth affirms what Mary knows is happening to her. We all need this affirmation. We all need people to recognize and affirm what is happening for us, in us. We all need an Elizabeth in our lives, and we can all be an Elizabeth for another person. These are words of Jan Richardson from a poem called A Blessing Called Sanctuary. You hardly knew how hungry you were to be gathered in, to receive the welcome that invited you to enter entire. Nothing of you found foreign or strange, nothing of your life that you were asked to leave behind or to carry in silence or in shame. Tentative steps became settling in, leaning into the blessing that enfolded you, taking your place in the circle that stunned you with its unimaginable grace. You began to breathe again, to move without fear, to speak with abandon, the words that you carried in your bones, that echoed in your being. You learned to sing. But the deal with this blessing is that it will not leave you alone, will not let you linger in safety, in stasis. The time will come when this blessing will ask you to leave, not because it is tired of you, but because it desires for you to become the sanctuary that you have found, to speak your word into the world, to tell what you have heard with your own ears, seen with your own eyes, known in your own heart, that you are beloved, precious child of God, beautiful to behold, and you are welcome, and more than welcome, here. This is the experience of Mary with Elizabeth. The whole of Mary is welcomed by Elizabeth, and this frees Mary to speak her truth into the world. God's love fills these women. Elizabeth lets that love flow from her to Mary in blessing and affirmation. Mary, in turn, lets that love and blessing flow from her in the words of the Magnificat. As Christians, we are called to make room in ourselves to receive God's love and grace, and then we are to let that love and grace overflow into the world in acts of love and compassion, in actions of solidarity that seek justice. But that flow of love and grace is not meant to happen in a place of isolation. No, that flow happens through connections, human connections, in this world, right here, right now. Jan Richardson's poem speaks of receiving the welcome that invites us to enter entirely. Nothing of us found foreign or strange. Nothing in our lives that we are asked to leave behind or carry in silence. This is the welcome that Elizabeth gave to Mary, and this is the welcome that we can give each other anywhere and everywhere, but especially here in this place, here in this sanctuary, this community of St. Luke's. We give that welcome by greeting one another with compassion, always. We give that welcome with acts of solidarity and justice. I've mentioned it to you before, but I was reminded again of the canticle of the turning again this week. Though I am small, my God, my all, you work great things in me, and your mercy will last from the depths of the past to the end of the age to be. My heart shall sing of the day you bring. Let the fires of your justice burn. Wipe away all tears, for the dawn draws near, and the world is about to turn. This idea that the world is about to turn is loaded as we find ourselves at yet another critical moment in this pandemic. Our church is about to turn to a red pandemic response tomorrow. And with that, we will not be able to be with each other here in our beloved sanctuary for Christmas. My heart is heavy in this. These are difficult days to navigate. Yet, as Christians, we are called to remember, especially at times like this, that we are a people of the Incarnation and of the resurrection. This means holding on to the hope that God is with us in all things, including incredibly difficult pandemic days. The hope of the Incarnation, Jesus, born as one of us, means that we are never alone. God is with us, working in mysterious ways, even in, especially in dark, difficult days. The hope of the resurrection means that darkness and death are not the end. There is a light in us, in our world, that can never be extinguished, and love wins. Hold on to this. God with us, and us with each other in compassion and love and solidarity. This will turn the world. I began by asking if you are an Elizabeth. As we enter into another period of not gathering in person for worship, we can all be Elizabeth for one another. I am here for you, to be Elizabeth for you on the other end of the phone. We can all reach out and connect with one another to affirm whatever it is that is happening in us. Let's be an Elizabeth for one another. Let's turn these next days and weeks from darkness to light, from isolation to connection, from despair to hope. In Jesus' name.